Let's start talking about what this agenda is like, because the compromise is coming, and a couple things about Joe Biden. He's sort of been kind of, we'll do this, maybe we'll do that, very broad strokes. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty, and I'll dive into that when we come back. KFI AM 640, and let's check in with Jennifer Jones, please.
LA City Councilman Mark Ridley Thomas has pleaded not guilty to 20 counts of public corruption. Ridley Thomas appeared yesterday on video and stood silent as the judge ordered him to sign a $50,000 unsecured bond. Ridley Thomas's attorney says his client is a pillar of the community. The prosecutors say Ridley Thomas bartered with millions of taxpayer dollars for his own benefit. His trial is scheduled to start in December. The LA City Council voted to suspend Ridley Thomas over allegations of corruption.
The council heard from the public and each other over whether or not to even vote on the motion. Councilman Mike Bonin said he wasn't comfortable with the process behind the 20-count indictment against Ridley Thomas.
An indictment is an indictment, and we said a good prosecutor can get a grand jury turned out of hand sandwich.
The vote yesterday was 11-3. Ridley Thomas was absent. Ridley Thomas is not allowed to officially conduct business on behalf of the city, and his salary will also be suspended. In downtown L.A., Steve Gregory, KFI News.
News is brought to you by Pure Again Water. Officials in Northern California are expected to announce what killed a family from San Francisco during a hike in the Sierra National Forest. A couple, their one-year-old daughter, and their dog were found dead in August on a remote hiking trail a day after they'd been reported missing. Detectives last month ruled out a number of potential causes. They're due to give an update today. A doctor in Torrance says the levels of anxiety, substance abuse, and suicidal attempts among kids are increasing dramatically.
Talk so kids will listen, and listen so kids will talk.
Torrance Memorial Medical Center Director of Behavioral Health, Dr. Noel Gelbart, says there are signs parents can look for.
Isolation, sadness, change in behavior, change in interactions with friends.
As for red flags,
If your child starts discussing with you or expressing levels of depression, sadness, thoughts of self-harm, it needs to be taken extremely seriously.
the American Academy of Pediatrics and two other pediatric associations yesterday declared the mental health crisis among kids a national emergency. In Torrance, Corbin Carson, KFI News.
Well, scientists say climate change is having an effect on human health. The report published in the Lancet Medical Journal says wildfires are polluting the air quality and extreme heat is impacting people's mental health and sleep patterns. Researchers also say more severe natural disasters will put a bigger burden on the healthcare system. And posting pictures can now be done on a computer instead of just your phone.
Instagram is finally allowing you to add photos and videos through a web browser rather than just the phone app. Before now, you could check updates and message on Instagram using a desktop or a laptop, but posting things required using third-party software, and even then it just didn't work well. The Facebook-owned Instagram has added other features this week as it tries to compete with TikTok, including a collaboration feature which allows multiple people to create a post, a fundraising feature, and a music feature to add video effects based on the beat of a song. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
Let's check your drive on the 55.
You betcha. Look at Orange County. Not too bad, really. If your destination is Tustin, north airbound, the South 55 and the South 5 are both slow approaching that interstate. However, the good news there, once you get past that on the South 55, it's pretty good. South 405, 22 to 55, kind of usual phone going through 100 feet through the construction. Northbound's in good shape. Headed towards Gardena now. Got some delays to warn you about. I know Figueroa is in good shape. But South 110 now, before you get down to the 91, that lane block for a while there is pretty solid back up to the 105. And we're just getting word. We're pedaling as fast as we can here over to the I-5 a little north of the 605. Been a crash there. More on that's coming up. Injured in an accident due to Superwoman, superlawyer.com. Jeff Bond, AFI in the sky.
The Dodgers fell behind the Braves 3-1 in the NLCS, due in part to plays like this.
What? Was batting sixth. Now he's hitting fifth. And he brings in a fly ball to center field. The ball going back to the wall. He looks, he leaps, and he makes the catch. He robs Lux of a home run on a perfectly timed leap by Adam Duvall. Wow.
Final score, Atlanta 9, LA 2. First pitch for Game 5 today at 5:08. The Braves are putting up Matt Fried to start, and the Dodgers? Who knows? Hear it live in HD by searching AM 570 LA Sports in the iHeart Radio app. The Astros took a 3-game-to-2 lead in the ALCS after stomping on the Red Sox 9-1. Game 6 tomorrow in Houston. I'm Wayne Resnick, KFI Sports.
A couple things are going on in the world of your home, interest rates, and equity. First of all, the value of your home has increased dramatically, and that's sort of a given with the recent spikes in home values. And mortgages are not being affected by inflation yet. The interest has not been affected. So what happens? You got a ton of equity, mortgages are still cheap, you got equity, well, how about this? Taking the money out, which is earning nothing. By the way, your equity earns not a dime, and then taking that money and investing it, and making money with it. That makes sense. And that's what HMS Capital is about, helping you do exactly that. Or you take the money out and use it for whatever you want. Tuition, remodeling, it doesn't matter. But the point is, interest rates low, equity high, HMS Capital. The razor-sharp interest rates, they're confident they're going to earn your business. I've done 2 mortgages with HMS Capital. I've known Mark Pike, who's the president, for over 16 years, so I have no problem saying you're looking for a mortgage or thinking about a mortgage. These are the guys who go to you. Call 833-255-5698, 833-255-5698. Visit hmscapital.com.
SoCal weather from KFI, mostly sunny today, with highs from the mid-60s at the beaches, right around 70 for Metro LA and OC, upper 70s for the valleys and the IE. We lead local, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee.
Attention savvy investors. Are you looking to hedge against inflation and receive steady monthly cash flow? How about the safety and security of a real estate investment without the hassles of being a landlord? Maybe you should cash out of some stock market risk and volatility and take some money off the table. Instead, receive 10% annualized monthly payouts with bonuses targeted to 21%. NRIA is an industry-leading real estate development firm in its 15th year constructing strategically located, low-risk, high-demand properties in unique neighborhoods based on supply-demand imbalance. Call 800-800-1414 to start your due diligence. A great fit for safety-oriented investors desiring monthly cash flow and diversification into carefully curated real estate. Learn more about the NRIA Real Estate Development Fund at nria.net or call 800-800-1414. That's 800-800-1414.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at nria.net.
Don't miss Hulu's new original series, Don't Stick, an investigative thriller from executive producer Danny Strong. Discover how one company triggered the worst drug epidemic in American history and then tried to cover it up. Watch how it all began in the boardrooms of Big Pharma, ravaged small-town America, and made its way to the hallways of the DEA. The series stars Michael Keaton, Rosario Dawson, Peter Sarsgaard, Caitlin Dever, Will Poulter, and John Hogenacker, and Michael Stuhlbarg. Watch the first 3 episodes now and catch new episodes Wednesday on Hulu.
Amazon Delivery Service Partners are hiring full-time delivery drivers to meet growing customer demand. Earn at least $19.50 per hour at select stations, plus benefits and a sign-on bonus of $2,000 from participating DSPs. If you apply now, apply today at www.amazon.com/driver. That's www.amazon.com/driver. No delivery experience required. Terms apply. Hourly rate includes a limited time incentive for working full-time between October 17th to December 25th, 2021.
Go solar with local and veteran-owned Semper Solaris. Visit sempersolaris.com.
KFI would like to thank the Radio and Television News Association for making KFI News the winningest news outlet in Southern California.
KFI AM 640.
More stimulating talk.
An iHeart radio station.
And good morning, everybody. Bill Handel here, and the Morning Brew on a Thursday morning, October 21. Some of the big news stories that we are covering. The Dodgers lost to the Braves in Game 4 of the Championship Series, and now they're down 3-1. Today is either the final game or the Dodgers still live. We'll find that out. And Brian Laundrie's his backpack, and I think as we talked to Jim Ryan this morning, sort of a dry bag, I mean, some items that belong to Brian Laundrie were found in that reserve that they were looking for, and some human remains. alongside, if you could. So that's a huge story. It looks like this thing may be coming to a head. All right. Now I want to move on to what's going on with Biden agenda, and that is the looks like the compromise is right on the very edge of announcing, or they're on the very edge of announcing that we have a deal. Not in terms of the infrastructure bill. That one's pretty well put to bed. But the Democrats want to connect the infrastructure bill to the Biden agenda, that $3.5 trillion safety net program. And the Republicans and some Democrats said that's never going to happen. We're not going to spend $3.5 trillion. It's way too much money. And so now the horse trading starts. And Biden had to give up a couple of big issues that he was pretty adamant about. One of them being free tuition junior colleges, 2-year colleges. That's done. He's staying with the pre-K education because, as he said, if you have to choose between one or the other, you go for the pre-K education. Free pre-K education. Why? Because that has a bigger impact. That actually does more for society and the kids than would free tuition help people that are wanting to go to college. But although I say junior college is pretty cheap stuff, and you can borrow money really, really easily. So I don't quite know why it's such a big deal, because it's so inexpensive and subsidized anyway. The other issue that I just talked about the last segment is a basic tenet of the Biden agenda is governmental negotiation with big pharma for drugs. Basically Medicare negotiations, but in the drug world. That's going to be gone because Republicans are fighting it way too hard, and big pharma has way too much power. 1,500 lobbyists. Probably the biggest group of lobbyists of any industry. And the president now is actually, everybody's taking him seriously because now his involvement in the minutia of this is really coming together. Up to this point, his own people were frustrated because he didn't really dive into it. He just gave it generalities. He just said, this is what I want to do, and didn't really go into the negotiations, the minutia. He's now doing that. This week, he's getting specific. He's going into details. He's had private meetings with members of Congress. He's outlined trade-offs. He floated the idea, for example, of giving seniors a debit card with $800 to spend on dental benefits as part of the expansion of Medicare. Not going to happen. He revealed that he's feeling pressure from his wife, who teaches at a local community college to push for spending on higher education. That's not going to happen. And what he is doing is now sitting down and really negotiating. And it's no longer aspirational. It is now the nuts and bolts of this particular bill. Is it going to happen? It is going to happen. He has already agreed, instead of the $3.5 trillion, which incidentally Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and crowd wanted $6 trillion or $7 trillion, and $3.5 trillion was their compromise, going halfway. Give me a break. Now the president has agreed between $1.7 and $1.9 trillion. I think that's close enough for a deal to be struck. And people who were in on some of these meetings said that the president has actually sat down with Congress folks and senators and went around the room to ask these lawmakers, what are the most important issues to you? Let's talk about this. He is now parsing and getting the opinion and the input from members of Congress. Is what he's known to do. The guy is a negotiator. I mean, he was in the Senate for, 35 years or 30 years. I mean, this is what he does. And we're going to get ourselves a deal. The child tax credit, which is a very big deal, which actually halved the child poverty this year, literally cut it in half. That Biden wanted permanent. It's probably going to be extended for only 1 year. So this is what legislation is about. And then the bigger picture is the United States prepared to go down this social safety net network safety net philosophy, where we either go to this is the land of opportunity, you do it yourself, you have all the opportunity, and we're not going to help you very much, or we're here to help you, and if you can't make it, were there, because that's what a country does. Depends on which way you want to go. And it's like anything else. It goes in cycles. We've gone from a very conservative approach under Donald Trump, where corporations reduce taxes, where wealthy people get more, they get more of their income because it's not taxed away, to the other side of the coin. Although, I want to point something out, Donald Trump was pushing very hard to get the government to negotiate prices, Medicare prices, from Big Pharma, and he couldn't do it. And this was the president who got a lot of things done that he wanted to get done. He couldn't do it at all. Coming up, oh, this is a fun one, okay? You're driving down the street, and all of a sudden you hear the siren. And there's the ambulance or the fire truck zipping past you, lights just going crazy, the siren going nuts, it's loud, you stop, you pull over. You know, all of that may be a complete waste of time. I'll share that story with you when we come back. This is KFI AM 640. Let's check in with Jennifer.
Anti-Asian hate crimes in LA County jumped 76% last year compared to 2019, from 25 to 44. That was the biggest number of crimes reported since 2001. Onion lovers, the CDC is telling shoppers to throw away onions if you don't know where they're from. Red, white, and yellow onions grown in Mexico are linked to a growing salmonella outbreak. And Royal Caribbean's giving people a chance to go on an ultimate world cruise to more than 150 destinations. The Serenade of the Sea ship will sail in December. The itinerary is 65 countries and all 7 continents. Rates start at $61,000 plus tax. We'll take a look at your drive with DKFI in the Sky in the 5 next.
Termites love Southern California, and there are 2 kinds of termite seasons here. One, well, it's here all year long, and 2, it's really termite season, and that's what's going on right now. If you see those little bugs flying around or what looks like small pieces of sawdust on the floor, termites, and I'm going to suggest you call Pacific Coast Termite for a free home inspection. Now, certain restrictions apply. When you use Pacific Coast Termite, no tenting, no double bagging your food, no pet sitting. I've tented before. It is a nightmare. You do not want to go there. You can actually be home while Pacific Coast Termite does its work. Try doing that with a tent over your house. Mention KFI, get 10% off termite treatments, 2-year guarantee on their work. Call 800-PACIFIC, 800-PACIFIC. Visit PacificCoastTermite.com.
Pacific Coast Termite, kills termites.
The clean, friendly way.
Prime members, skip the dishes and stock up on your favorite pizza brands at Whole Foods Market. Get 50% off all frozen pizza through November 2nd, while supplies last. See more on the Whole Foods Market app. SoCal weather from KFI, mostly sunny with highs from the mid-60s to the upper 70s. This report is brought to you by Whole Foods Market. From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, we make it easy. We're watching the 5.
Yeah, nothing easy here, unfortunately. We're trying, but heads up now. You might want to make a call. I think this could make you late. It's in a bad spot. Southbound 5, down the freeway, underneath the 605 overpass. Now, it's been bad running between the 2 left blocks and just the left block, but the bottom line, someone's been hurt in a crash there. CHP, fire department, everybody's here. Now, South 5 was already slow coming down from the 710, but now it's getting to be more like stop and stop. Again, there's only 3 lanes when you go under the 605 there. So, no contest, really. Southbound Telegraph is the way to go before it gets jammed up as well. Now, northbound is always slow coming up from around Norwalk towards the East LA interchange, and it's just that. 605, boy, not exactly a drive to the beach, that's for sure. Had a few minor problems along the way. Now the southbound drive from a little bit south of the 60 down to the 5 is just real slow stuff, and that things will improve finally. Injured in an accident. Visit SuperwomanSuperWire.com. Jeff Barr, KFI in the Sky.
This report is sponsored by AIS Insurance.
Abraham, it looks like you called AIS and saved a ton of money on your car insurance.
I think $800. I'm like, yeah, sign me up. Done.
Sign me up and done at AISinsurance.com.
1-800-777-4AIS.
Hi, we're Hoke. Meet Dr. Daryl Pearlstein. He's a thoracic surgeon at the Hoke Family Cancer Institute who loves the outdoors and hiking. He's also a leader in robotic-assisted surgery who trains other surgeons nationwide. Dr. Pearlstein would love to get to know you, and is ready to make a positive difference in your family's life. Get to know Hoag. Visit hoaghealth.org and find your physician today. You are the proud possessor of a secret weapon, maybe even several. Your major appliances, washers, dryers, dishwashers. When you use your appliances outside the peak hours of 4 to 9 p.m., you're choosing times when renewable energy is plentiful. Now that's using your powers for good. SPE time of use rate, an easy way to make a change for the better. Visit SPE.com/TOU rate for more information.
If you thought you missed the lowest mortgage rates in history, you're in luck, because they're back. Mortgage rates are near historic lows again. So if you have a mortgage, refinance it and forget it. You'll never have to worry about refinancing again. Network Capital Funding is offering a low 15-year fixed rate at 1.75% with a 1.94 APR. Incredible! Network Capital has built a reputation for saving people time and money with our unique process that's fast, simple, and secure. Our 15-year fixed rate is 1.75% with a 1.94 APR. Now, second chances don't come often, and you may never see these rates again. So, refinance it and forget it. That's a 15-year fixed at 1.75%. Yes, 1.75% with a 1.94 APR. Call the experts at Network Capital now. Call 800-500-1-HIT. 800-500-1-HIT. As in home run. Call now and save big on your refi. 800-500-1-HIT. 800-500-1448. NMLS ID 11712. Not licensed in all states. Visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Licensed by the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation and the Financing Law. Number 603-787. An equal opportunity lender. Rate subject to change and may not be available rate law. Discount points may apply. Subject to credit approval. Call 800-500-1448 for additional cost information.
How are those Solar Max panels treating you?
I love it. I went with Solar Max years ago. I just wish I went sooner with all the money I saved.
Right now, you can get from Solar Max Tesla 420 panels and power walls for $79.96 per month and zero down.
Dial pound 250 and say Solar Max or go to solarmaxtech.com. Monthly payment available on approved credit. CSW number 9720 for you.
Most Californians live within 30 miles from an active fault, and earthquakes can happen anywhere and any time in the Golden State. So, do you know how to protect yourself when an earthquake strikes? Make sure your home, workplace, school, and community are planning to practice how to drop, cover, and hold on during the Great Shakeout. Get prepared and worry less. Join us for the Great Shakeout. This message is brought to you by StrengthenMyHouse.com. Shakeout Day is October 21st.
I am one of thousands of women with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that has spread to other parts of the body. I am living in the moment and taking Ibrance, palbociclib. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for postmenopausal women or for men with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Be enjoying it. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
The California RV Show is at DDRV.com. Travel trailers, fifth wheels, gas and diesel motorhomes. All new models with show-stopping pricing. Reps on site to approve deals. The California RV Show at
DDRV.com, where the 405 meets the 22 Westminster.
Supply chain chaos. Ben & Jerry's is going to make less flavors. There's going to be a shortage of fish sticks. Since I was a little kid, I hated the phrase fish sticks.
I don't even know what it is.
John and Ken, I don't want to know what it is.
We gave it too.
Well, think of it as like a chicken tender, only it's a fish kind of. I don't like that either.
on KFI.
And good morning, Bill Handel, Morning Crew, October 21st on a Thursday. The Dodgers, well, they lost last night. That's not good news. They're now down 3-1 in the championship series. LA City Council member Mark Ridley Thomas has been suspended without pay. And we'll talk to Steve Gregory just at the top of the hour, next segment, because he was there at the arraignment. He's been following the story. And then I want to share with you, this just crossed my desk, and I just thought this was just a great topic, just fascinating. And it has to do with emergency sirens and the lights flashing on emergency vehicles. And here is a little bit of history. The Dalmatian that is you put the Dalmatian on a fire truck, and that is the poster child of what fire trucks should be like. It's just part and parcel of the whole image of firefighting. You know where the Dalmatians came from? They actually did use Dalmatians prior to the advent of the motorized vehicles. And Dalmatians were actually used to warn pedestrians to stay clear of the horse-drawn firefighting equipment, the carriages. And they just had a particularly loud bark, and they were trained to do that. And now, of course, they're just, it literally is just a statement and a vision that you have. And I just think it's hilarious. Anyway, let me go on and actually get into this story. And that has to do with sirens and lights flashing on emergency vehicles. There have actually been a dozen studies done on this, more than a dozen, about the response time. Because why do you have a siren? Why do you have the lights flashing? Well, so you can be told, get the hell out of the way. They blow through red lights, which they should. And it's all about saving time, right? It really isn't. These dozen studies have estimated that the responses literally shave 42 seconds to 3 minutes off the time of any call. And there was a study just came out from Salt Lake City, and they looked at the responses from the 1990s, go figure. And the difference between the hot calls, lights and sirens on, and cold calls, no lights or sirens, amounted to an average of 26 seconds difference. And it turns out, according to the medical director of one of the major ambulance groups, says most of the things that are time dependent are really a very tiny minority of the calls. Other than in the case of heart attacks, it really doesn't make much difference at all. Now, in certain scenarios, sirens can be useful, getting through red light, stop sign, but let's look at the negative for a moment. Then I'm going to tell you a really neat story, a fact story that you're going to go, wow, that's great. All right. First of all, they can be harmful to responders. People who are in the vehicles that are driving with the sirens going, which is why now you see the fire trucks and you see the firefighters inside, and they wear the earmuffs. They wear the headset, and they muffle out sound. Okay, so that helps. Before that, they didn't. And firefighters and police, mainly firefighters, ambulance drivers, had a real problem with hearing loss. A little better today, or a lot better, because of protective equipment. So that's one. Also, stress from the noise itself. And they're just delineating. And then the issue of, you got these cars and these trucks and ambulances going through really fast, through traffic, and the number of people who have died. It's estimated by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, average of 4,500 accidents every year from 1992 to 2011. They're looking back at this. 33 deaths and 2,600 people injured each year. I'm talking about the first responders, people in the ambulances and the fire trucks. And so here's why the argument is we don't need sirens anymore. Because even though at one time you had to have as fast a response, but these were times when, for example, defibrillators weren't available. And now they are on every ambulance. And medical equipment that saves people's lives. So you don't need that much time saved. And it only saves a few seconds anyway. So, what's the best reason for having sirens? And these are the studies, by the way, that pointed this out. And I thought this was wonderful because I wanted to share this with you. The best reason for having sirens on those vehicles, and particularly we're talking about volunteer departments. That's where they really nailed it. Because a lot of small towns and villages and counties have volunteer fire departments, but volunteer ambulance drivers, because it's just not big enough for a professional department. And so why would they keep that? Because it really helps get people to volunteer, and it really helps retain volunteers. And you know why? because these volunteers just think it's neat to drive down the street in a fire truck or an ambulance with the lights flashing and the sirens going and cars pulling over. They just think it's neat. It's a rush. And so the number one reason for keeping the sirens, the lights, is because people just enjoy it. Also, it can be kind of dangerous for us. I'll tell you what else. You know what people do, and one of the studies showed this, how come it's gotten much, much more dangerous? Because what people do now is they literally, instead of pulling over, they'll just stop. And the ambulance has to go around them. I've noticed that, where people are just not as cooperative with the law. You know, you see a siren, but you hear a siren behind you, you see the lights flash, you pull over to the right as quickly as possible. And hope that you don't hear a loudspeaker blaring at you, get out of the car or pull over, then you know it's not good news. But that was kind of a fun study. I enjoyed that. It really is. So if you want to be a firefighter, you want to be an EMT guy or gal, then we give you sirens and we give you lights. How about that? Coming up, Steve Gregory with the Mark Ridley Thomas story. That's right here on KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio dial.
It's more informing, more engaging, more stimulating. KFI.
KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Not guilty. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. LA City Councilman Mark Ridley Thomas has appeared in court to enter a plea on 20 federal corruption charges.
Ridley Thomas sits silent and without emotion as he listened to a judge review his charges. Ridley Thomas and his attorney appeared by video yesterday, and when asked how he pleads to the indictment, he replied, "Not guilty, Your Honor." The judge ordered Ridley Thomas to sign a $50,000 unsecured bond. Prosecutors wanted $100,000. Ridley Thomas's attorney said his client is a pillar of the community and posed the lowest risk possible. Prosecutors said Ridley Thomas got too comfortable with his power and bartered millions of taxpayer dollars for his own benefit. His trial is scheduled for December. The federal court in downtown L.A. Steve Gregory, KFI News.
Steve will join Handel with more on this in just a moment. News is brought to you by Rooter Hero Plumbing. Mayor Garcetti says any LA City employee who doesn't get vaccinated against COVID-19 by December 18th should be prepared to lose their job. The LA City Council has yet to approve the extended December 18th deadline for employees having to show proof of vaccination, but Garcetti said yesterday employees must be vaccinated by that date or they will lose their jobs. Council President Nuri Martinez says workers have plenty of time to get a shot.
How can we ask Angelinos to be vaccinated if we are not doing it ourselves? We need to set the strong example for our communities.
Data from the mayor's office shows so far 72.8% of city employees are fully or partially vaccinated. A CDC advisory panel will meet this morning to discuss endorsing Moderna and Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine for boosters. The FDA authorized the shots yesterday for certain groups, but Dr. Peter Marks, director of the FDA's Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, says boosters may be open to more people soon.
There is evidence to suggest potentially that lowering the age of those eligible for boosters may make sense in the future.
The FDA says it's also okay for people to get booster shots from different brands than they received from their first one or two shots. An overflow of complaints about shipping containers in the streets of Wilmington has LA Port Police stepping up enforcement.
Container trucks are everywhere, and port officials say there are another 200,000 containers stuck at anchor waiting to be offloaded. Port of LA Commissioner Lucia Moreno-Linares says she's lived in the city for decades, and it's dangerous.
They'll double park, they will leave their containers unhitched in the street, not even on the side. I mean, in the middle of the street, you're having to go around them into oncoming traffic.
It says homeowners can help by reporting issues to Port Police. In Wilmington, Corbin Carson, KFI News.
LAX is working to make the TSA line less of a headache.
The airport says it's trying a free fast lane program with travelers flying with United Airlines. Go online and reserve a 15-minute security checkpoint window. The program would let travelers go through a special line to get through checkpoints quicker. LAX's Keith Montgomery says this is another way the airport is trying to become more convenient through the use of smartphones,
so that you can have a more predictable experience overall. You know when your flight is, you know when your TSA time is. You can plan when you're going to get to the airport and park.
program started yesterday and runs through January. Blake Soley, KFI News.
And the NFL and lawyers for thousands of retired players have reached an agreement to end race-based adjustments in dementia testing